Alright, so this video is going to be all about managing your Photoshop layers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to open my image. So I am going to select File, Browse and Bridge. I'm going to select the Skyline Birds PSD, and the image opens. The first thing we'll notice is that this is essentially a composite of a bunch of different bird pictures with this background water and sky image. So let's first talk about linking different layers. Go ahead and select each of the layers that begin with the word double. So you should see 3 different double layers. Again, you can hold your Command or Control key down as you click on the different ones. And then once you have the 3 selected, you can come down to the bottom of the Layers panel and select the Link Layers button. Now what this is going to do is it is going to link each of these layers together. So if I select one, it is actually selecting all of the linked layers. So I'm going to click off of those and select just one of them. You see the link shows up to the far right in the layer panel beside the name. And then I'm going to select my Move tool, which is the V shortcut. And I'm going to just click and drag. And you'll see that even though I only have one of those layers selected, all of the ones that are linked together are being moved. Alright, Command or Control Z will place them back where they were. And we're going to leave those 3 linked. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create a group. And we're going to do this a couple of different ways. In the upper right hand corner, in your layer menu, you can see that there's New Group and New Group from Layers. Go ahead and select New Group now, and you'll see the New Group layer panel pops up. We're going to name this one Large Single, and we're going to place our large single layer within this grouping in a moment. We are not going to assign a color, but we could if we wanted to. And we could also put settings such as what type of opacity we would like. We are going to set this to normal blending mode. So the name of the group is Large Single. No color has been assigned. The blending mode is set to normal. And the opacity is set at 100%. Now we're going to click OK. And we'll see over on the right hand side in our Layers panel, a folder appears with Large Single out beside it. And there's a little drop down arrow beside it showing Open and Close on that folder. But there's nothing in it. Grab the Large Single layer and drag it down until you see a highlight around the border of the Large Single Group layer, and then release. And you'll see your layers shorten because that Large Single layer, when I click this drop down arrow to the left here, that layer has now been placed within that group. And if I turn the eye to the group off, you'll see that single bird is turned on and off. Okay? The other option that you have of creating a different grouping is to select the layers and then create your group with the layers selected. So now we are going to select all of our single layers. So single 1, single 2, single 3, single 4, and single 5. Make sure you have each one selected. And then you're going to go up in the upper right hand corner under the layer menu and select New Group from Layers. And that layer grouping is going to be called Single. This one we are going to apply a color of red to. And we are again going to make our layer mode normal, that is the blending mode. Opacity will be left at 100%, and you will click OK. Once again, name this grouping single with the color of red, blending mode set to normal, and opacity at 100%. I'm going to now click OK. And over here on the right, we see that red color is applied around the eye. That turns visibility on and off for that layer. Now, if I click my drop-down menu, we see each one of these layers now has that red color assigned to it, and it's been placed under the single group folder. I can collapse my folder or expand it by using this little triangle button out to the left of the folder icon. I'm going to go ahead and collapse that, and I'm going to collapse the large single group. And what we have here is now two groupings, the large single and the single. We have our double layers all linked together, and then we also have our original background layer, which remains locked. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to duplicate our background layer. So go ahead and select the background layer, and then you can hit Command or Control J, and it creates a copy of that layer. Go ahead and double click that and rename the layer Sea and Sky. Click off or hit Enter, either one, and you'll see that that copy of that layer is now renamed Sea and Sky. Now, with your Sea and Sky layer selected, go ahead and select Command J and duplicate that. And then go up to your adjustment layers and select a levels adjustment layer. And we're going to darken the sky on this one copy of Sea and Sky. So I am going to go in and bring down my shadows to 17, my midtones to 70. Once again, we added a levels adjustment layer. Over here on the far left slider, we slid it down, or you could type in 17 here. That is your shadows adjustment. Then you can select your midtone adjustments, or you can just click here and type in 70, and we are not adjusting our highlights at all. So 17, 70, and 255 should be your properties on this levels adjustment layer. Going to go ahead and collapse the properties panel down so that it doesn't remain open. And so you'll see when I turn this levels adjustment layer on and off, the effect it's had on my image. Alright, now we're going to go up and we're going to select double 2 and double 3, and we're going to merge those layers together. Select double 2, and then holding down your Control or Command key, select double 3, go into the Layers panel in the upper right hand corner, and select down towards the bottom, Merge Layers. And now you'll see if I turn that layer on and off, both of what was a separate layer, both of those groupings of birds are now together on the one layer. And that is still linked with double 1. So if I were to try to move it, I'm still moving them all, same as before. It's just that now it's really 2 layers instead of the 3. Okay, so let's talk about rasterizing layers for a moment. You may notice that if you try to paint or run a filter on a shape or a type layer, Photoshop won't allow you to do so. It displays a box saying that you have to rasterize that layer first. So go ahead and select the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle that is 700 by 300 pixels. Doesn't matter the color because we're going to change that in a moment. Click OK. Go ahead and on your foreground color over here in the toolbar, double click, and select one of these dark blue colors in the water. Select OK. And now I'm going to select my paint bucket. And when I go to click on my shape, it says this shape layer must be rasterized before proceeding. Rasterize the shape? Question mark. I'm going to say OK. This is what I'm referring to when I talk about rasterization. Smart objects are not rasterized. So I'm going to click OK, and then when I click in my box, it will change the color. Notice over to the left, it no longer has that little corner cut out that it had previously. That means this is a rasterized shape and not a smart object. And we'll go into that a little bit more in a future video. Prior to rasterizing the shape, it was a vector shape, so it could be resized without any issues. Once we've rasterized it, however, it now becomes a pixel-based layer. Now, select your shape, either using the layer panel, or you can select the move tool and click on the shape, and you're going to move it down in the lower left-hand corner. And then you're going to select the type tool, set your font size to 36, click in the shape, and just type your last name. Now, you'll notice that even though I typed my last name, nothing appears like it's showing up. That's because I have the same color that I had created or filled my rectangle shape with. So what I'm going to do is highlight my name, and I can either select the foreground color box here, or I can go up to my control panel and set the text color by clicking within the box there. And so once the color picker panel pops up, I can select a color from within the color picker panel, or I can use the eyedropper and once again select a color from the image. Select a blue or a white out of the sky using the eyedropper and then click OK. Now you're going to select your move tool again and just place your name within the rectangle in whatever way you find most pleasing. That may be to the left, you may want it to the right. I'm going to place mine to the right, starting just after the center, and leave it there. Okay, so for this video we've covered grouping our layers, linking our layers, merging our layers, and rasterizing our layers. I would recommend that you go to the book and read through chapter 3. There is a lot more to this chapter than what we were able to cover in these videos. The last thing we're going to discuss is flattening layers. If you wanted to make all of your layers down into one, you could select your layer panel menu, come down, and flatten the image. And when you do so, you see that it puts everything on the bottommost layer. So all of my changes remain in effect, but they've all been placed in that background layer. However, that is not what you need to do to turn in this assignment. If you were following along with me, all you need to do to undo that last step is select Command Z to undo the last step of flattening the layers. And now, with all the layers showing again, we're ready to save. And so we're going to go File, Save As, and this is 3G, your last name, and then Skyline Birds. And make sure you're saving your file as a PSD file in the Chapter 3 folder. Select Save, and now you can close. If you try to close too soon, you're going to get the message that I am showing here. So once I click OK, it's probably finished saving and the image will close. And that concludes this part of Chapter 3.